Alright, everybody, before we get into this, make sure you drink some water today. It doesn't have to be right now, but it's just an important thing to do. We should be drinking water more often. I've had 2 of these. That's half a gallon. So I'm super hydrated right now, so hydrated. But now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about what is or likely will be killing your solo role-playing sessions. I think anyone who's ever solo role-played or wanted to start has been hit with this absolute monster of a problem. And I'm actually encountering it right now on multiple fronts, and I'll get into that. But solo play is really unique. It's just you. No one to schedule with, no one to convince that they should play with you, no one to teach a new rule set to, no one to role play with. Or is there? Oh, I'm shaking that thing. Yes, there is. There is someone. It's you, and it's me. And we are the silent killers of solo roleplay. So right now in my Shadow Dark sessions, I'm about to enter the Dungeon of the Slumbering King. I'm about to create it, really. I'm about to create the Dungeon of the Slumbering King, but I'm scared. I'm not scared of the dungeon itself or the Slumbering King, even though I don't know what the Slumbering King is. Even though that may be the death of my characters, I'm not scared of that. I'm scared of the unknown. And you may wonder what I mean when I say that, but I'm talking about like the procedure, the traps, the turns, the monsters, things like that. I've spent so much time worrying about making this because I'm like, well, what if I make a trap and I know that that trap is there because I made it. The players don't know that it's there, the players being my characters. I don't want to take it too easy on myself, but I don't want to make it too hard either. So it's just this level of unknown that is just plaguing me right now. But I've said this before plenty of times. It's my game. It's your game. So why are we so afraid of messing up? And maybe this doesn't apply to you. If that's the case, that's totally fine. That's actually really cool. If it doesn't apply to you, if you have any tips or tricks, just let people know in the comments. But the unknown is likely affecting most of us. So the unknown is like putting yourself out there in middle school and telling someone you have a crush on them. It's paralyzing. So in my case, most of the time I left things unsaid. I let the what if dwell in my head endlessly, never acting, just what ifing everything. I view my life as a series of events that I want to perform perfectly in, and rejection or a perceived failure does not fit into my plans. I'm a big time people pleaser, so if I feel like I could let other people down or have their perception of me change, I keep things I play things really safe, I guess, a lot of the times. But perceived failure not fitting into my plans is a weird thing because shouldn't it? Shouldn't failures lead to growth? And moreover, how do I know that I would be failing? How do I know that that girl didn't like me in middle school if I never asked? In this case, I know she didn't like me, but I think you get the point. I spent and spend so much time dwelling on the what ifs that I never allow myself to succeed or fail. I was in theater in college, and there is nothing more scary than dropping one of your lines or a prop not being where it needs to be or anything that differs from the script. And inevitably in amateur theater, it's just a bunch of college kids, inevitably that will happen. It was me, it was someone else, it was any number of things. You had to find a way to move past it. So I drop a line, somebody has to fill in for me, or someone else drops a line and I know their lines because I know my lines and I know the cues that I have, and then your mind starts racing to try to fill in those gaps. But some of my favorite memories actually come from those things happening. You bond with your castmates over that stuff and you develop inside jokes. Like I remember my brother's a few years older than I am, and he was the lead in The Music Man. He was Harold Hill, and I don't even remember the other guy's character name, but my brother's mic was kind of falling off, and this guy was reaching and like trying to put it back on his face in the middle of a performance, and it was hilarious. It was crazy, and it was super amateur, but it was hilarious and one of my favorite things that I still joke about. So in those scenarios, you never had time to think about if something like that was going to happen because you were already in the thick of it. My brother he had his mic falling off and he was trying to play it cool, and this guy was already reaching for his face. And you just have to move forward. You have to find a way to make it work. Actually, very recently, I'm going to move some things. I bought Ultraviolet Grasslands and the Black City thanks to Questing Beast. I watched a video that he made and I fell in love with the world. I fell in love with the things that I was seeing, and this is something I don't recommend. I don't recommend watching his videos because you will want to buy stuff. And after I bought it, I actually saw a video about solo playing in this world by, I think it was Geek Gamers talking about that. So I got the book. I opened it up. I started reading it, and it was breathtaking. And it was also scary because it was the unknown. I was reading words I didn't understand, seeing systems that are different than what I'm used to, and the unknown began to rear its head again. And as I was thinking about it, I just thought, I can't run this for myself or my friends because it's so different. It is so over my head in a lot of ways. And this isn't a video about like fight or flight or anything, but if it was, I would be flying right now. But I don't know. I think we all like to make excuses. I think one of my favorite excuses is that I'm a slow reader and my reading comprehension is that of like a fifth grader or something like that. And so there's wild stuff going on in these worlds, and like sometimes I like, even through just the first few pages that I've been reading through, there are some things that I've gotten to that I really am just like, what is he even saying here? What, like, the language is crazy, or it's like they're bullet points that I don't understand because it's referencing a rule that's later on. But so my reading comprehension, all that stuff, I like to make excuses about that. And it would be really easy for me to make that excuse here because the book is dense with a lot of setting and colorful descriptions and complex ideas. And so that's what I'm tempted to do. And I just want to ask you right now, just wherever you are, what's your favorite excuse? What keeps you from playing? As far as I'm aware, I'm going to play this game. It may be solo, it may be with my gaming group, but I'm going to play it and I'm going to overcome that unknown. I really want to explore this super imaginative and beautiful world, and I don't want another what if. So that's what I plan to do with this. I do want to just sort of briefly discuss how I think we fixed this in general. I think looking back at my theater illustration, I think there's a easy way, a clear way to fix this problem. The problem of the unknown and the problem of ourselves. The silent killer, as it were. When I was in a play or a musical, I never had time to think about if something off script or unexpected was going to happen because I was already in the thick of it. I prepared as much as I could, as much as I needed to. I memorized lines. I knew my blocking. I knew where I needed to be on stage. I knew the choreography and lyrics to the songs. Sometimes I just absolutely never got lyrics down because that's a hard thing for me to do, apparently. But the unknown was always there, just lurking. But the play already started. There was no time to think about the what ifs. So, what if we played like that? What if we just started the game, the unknown pushed to the back of our minds, and we walked into it boldly? What would happen? My guess is that we would have amazing games where everything went how it was supposed to. And we'd have other games where everything was horrible and we hit all kinds of roadblocks. But in both scenarios, we would learn. We wouldn't be paralyzed by the what ifs because the what ifs already smacked us across the face. I get that there may be some objections to diving blindly into the unknown when it comes to solo play, but I think back think back with me to something you never tried before. Was it playing D&D with some friends, trying out for a team, band, or play, interviewing for a dream job, or just like becoming an adult? Things that you had never tried before, but you were going to dive into it. So you might have researched tirelessly to make sure you had a character created perfectly and knew the rules. You may have practiced and rehearsed for days leading up to the audition or tryout, or you may have learned everything you needed to about a job and went to school for it for years, but there were still gaps in your knowledge. Uncertainty, the unknown. Did that prevent you from going after it? Maybe in some instances it did, but I hope not. I really do hope that you went for it. I hope that you continue to go for it. It may not always go your way, and it may not have gone as well as you wanted it to in the past, but in those scenarios, what do? You learn. You learn from the things that happen, and hopefully you try to fix those things that were holding you back. So in the same way, we go after this unknown, or this unknown, or this unknown, any of the unknowns. And we will fail at times, but I hope that we learn along the way. So, wrapping this up, I just want you to know that I understand that this doesn't make it easier. If anything, knowing that we're the ones getting in our way kind of stinks. It stinks knowing that I'm the one who prevents me from doing things. But there are worlds out there that need to be explored, and they need you to get after it. So my challenge to you is to step out onto the proverbial stage of this and let the curtains open and put on the performance of a lifetime. Let the mistakes come and go, because the curtain will close at the end and you'll be happy you did it. If that analogy didn't land on you, I'm pretty much just telling you to play a solo game and apply for that dream job. And I'm not sure I can recommend really becoming an adult, but that happens one way or another. I used to have this sort of motto when I took tests. It was that no matter what happens after this hour of testing, however long the class was, if it was the ACT, it was way longer than that. But no matter what, once I turn it in, it's done. It's out of my mind and it's behind me. I can learn from the results that I get back, but I don't have to worry about it. So just take the test, do the thing, and learn from it. But I want to thank you guys for watching, and if you made it this far, you get a free day pass to be a kid again, all expenses covered. Now be free children.